Nelson Muntz style. I have to talk about this. This is something that I've known about for some time, but was bound not to say anything. Do you remember I've been saying that there was another lawsuit that was coming besides Todd Chrisley's? That Todd Chrisley's was not the only lawsuit we were going to see happen to Katie Joy of Without a Crystal Ball. It was just going to be crazy. Okay, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I used to write for Pathos for No Longer Quivering for almost 10 years. Now I just do my own thing. Okay, so the mystery has been solved. I've known this for quite some time, but I wasn't at liberty to discuss this. Now it has happened. Steve McRae has had Katie Joy Paulson served. And I don't mean that he served her Pop-Tarts or a meal. I mean served with legal paperwork. He's suing her. He is suing her. And that is what we got going on this morning. He's suing her for defamation. You remember the always evolving table of ignorance that was going on? Oh, it's a dress. This is a dress, small town jewel. I bought it at Walmart. It was very inexpensive. So Steve is finally suing her over her behavior towards him. One of the things that's the biggest that she's been doing to him that I know damn good and well, oh yeah, she's back there. I know damn good and well is not true, was she kept talking about Steve S.A. her. S.H. her. I mean, her tales. She once told a tale that he said something. It started as he said something inappropriate that made her feel uncomfortable. Now, the circumstances for this were there was either a porn star or a stripper, I don't know which one, that they had on the show. And Katie Joy was on the show as well. And hey, Bliss Chris. Hey, Just Jeanette, Small Town Jewel, Angela. Hi to everybody. So this girl was on the show, this lady. And afterwards, Steve made some kind of comment about her breasts, I believe. Wasn't entirely out of line with the subject that they were talking about and some of the other things that had been said on the show, even by Katie Joy. So, long story short, Katie told the truth initially. She said he said something that made her feel uncomfortable. Okay. It should have ended there. When you say something like that, you usually say that and move on. I've told guys they made me uncomfortable with some of the things they've said and done. I had somebody that I went to church with that would always have these very sexual double entendres every time you talk to him. And I finally just said, hey, this is making me uncomfortable. Stop it. And he did. So that's how you're supposed to handle that, but not Katie Joy. It suddenly became all kinds of tales. Every person she told a different version of this. At one point in her restraining order lawsuit, her restraining order against Steve, her TRO, she put that he had been in a room with her and been inappropriate. She's told people that he's shown her his naughty parts. I'm going to say that so that I don't get spanked. He showed her naughty parts, she said. Another time she said he hit on her and tried to sleep with her. She said that he was extremely inappropriate, that he groped her, just various tales. None of these tales, none of these tales make sense. Small Town Jewel, that was what I said. I said, I almost wish I didn't have a Twitter name because I would change my handle to Steve McRae's Enormous Wang, because if he had showed her his wang in person from California to Minnesota, that would have been some kind of a trick. So I've laughed over that for quite some time because every time I talked to her before we had our falling out, she had a different idea about what he had done. So she's been talking about this for ages. And like I said, with a revolving story that keeps changing depending on who's talking to her. She just tweeted something about the statute of limitations, but she couldn't say horrible things about him recently. JCG, exactly. She has continued to defame him since the moment that the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement between the two of them, elapsed. Steve only agreed to a year. She wanted to make the non-disclosure agreement permanent when she was doing the TRO and telling him that she was going to sue him for defamation. Well, she never filed her defamation claim, but he sure has. And talking to him, I know he's got quite a bit of evidence against her. So she's laughing and saying, oh, when they get to discovery, this is going to fall apart. It's going to expose Steve for who and what he is. Well, you know something, sweetheart, that goes both ways, both ways. And Steve had witnesses that he did not molest her, attempt to hit on her, show her his wang, anything else. There were other people involved with that particular production that know what went down. So her claims of that are pretty ridiculous. She's got to learn to start slandering, harassing, and threatening people. Yes, most definitely. This was him, Small Town Jewel. This was him. MM Malone, I don't know. They're in different states. Her claims make no sense at all. She said them quite a bit. The things she said out to get the temporary restraining order were ridiculous. They were all a freaking lie. So there's that. He's got that, if nothing else. And the whole Steve tried to molest me thing. So there's that. And we all know that that is not what happened at all. And so I'm kind of laughing today. I knew this was coming. I knew it would be awesome. I knew she'd flip out and say, oh, well, I got stuff on him too. Well, guess what? The stuff you got on him is not half as bad as anything. She has blamed Steve for everything for ages. She said Steve was in charge of our, quote, C word, that he was the kingpin. He was running us all around at his behest. No such thing. No such thing at all. It's all her making crap up. I did have a chuckle. So did I. So we're getting quite a bit of laughs out of this. She's accused him of being a C leader. I know. I wish Steve would go after Uni too. Yes, same here. I wish he would. Small Town Jewel, go ahead and ask me that question. And if I have an answer to it for you, I will go ahead and answer. See, video evidence that Steve is absolutely innocent. I'm sharing that information on every platform we're on. Sandra, that's true. He's absolutely innocent. He didn't do any of the stuff she's accused him of doing. So this is not going to play well in court. I think it's going to be an S show, if you know what I mean. And when they go to court, Steve has already got everything all lined up. The only thing she can do is her usual attempt to obfuscate and make things, try to push everybody off that subject into something else. Bliss, I can understand that. You know, the main reason that I have good feelings for Steve is because when this all went down with her and she stood me up and then lied about me and said that her and I were best buds again, and I hadn't heard from her at all. She was still in non-communicado phase with me, even though I'd PM'd her a pile of times. Steve reached out to me. And he was nice to me at that time, as I was having some pretty major bad feelings at that moment. He let me know I wasn't alone. He introduced me to a whole laundry list of other people who had been hurt by her. She said something about the deposition dealing with Todd. She said it has to do with Josh. I think his last name is Waits. I don't believe that, Small Town Jewel. I do not believe that, because She has said so many things about Todd that can be talked about. Like, she has thrown all kinds of shade about his sexuality. She's said terrible things about him. She has expounded on gossip that she's gotten from his daughter, Lindsay. So I would think that the deposition has more to do with the fact that she said these things. She said some horrible things about him at Pathos in print. Now, that stuff is all down, but once you ring the bell, you can't unring it and pretend it didn't happen, which is what she's attempting to do, I think. So I don't think it does. Yeah, Steve doesn't deserve to be accused of any of this. Oh, hey, Christoph Ann. So she thinks the deposition only has to do with that guy. She's wrong. I think she's going to be in for a rude awakening during the deposition. Todd has said he's going to be there and sit in on the depositions. So I think that's going to be pretty crazy, because on the podcast, we seem to be after her for has nothing to do with the Josh situation. Nothing to do with the Josh situation. I think it has more to do with the fact that she's called him a criminal, that she's accused him of putting out his daughter's sex tape. She's accused him of various hiding his sexuality, all kinds of just really super crazy stuff. She is just going after him hard. I don't think she will learn unless she's offline and get therapy and maybe be mom, wife, and still not all that crazy, just unhealthy for her family or all the people she hurts every day. Jilly, I have to agree with that. That is really the truth of the matter. The things that she does and says, she doesn't understand that they have real world consequences. You know, I consider what happened to me to be a lucky thing, because I had no idea that I was dealing with a sociopath like that. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm not calling her a sociopath. I'm saying that some of her behavior is sociopathic. It fits the mold. So I consider the small amount of time I spent with her and what happened to me to be a good warning. And it's been a year, more than a year now, since I've had anything to do with her. And it's kind of like that moment in The Wizard of Oz when you go from black and white to color. That was kind of like how it was for me, because I had my head in the sand. I thought she was a perfectly fine, normal, rational person. I didn't read her pieces on Pathos. I had not enough time to be reading everybody's pieces. I put up with her. I tried to help her, and she did what she did to me. Need a straight jacket for someone in a little padded room. My padded room. Jane, I think you might be right. Yes, she got served today. Today was the day that she found out about the Steve McRae. It is, because I was just in La La Land. I tried to keep to myself, and even if I see creators I don't like. And last night, and I looked at Ren. I like Ren. He had some creators on last night that I don't care much for, because they nagged me about Charlotte, telling me I was wrong about Charlotte and all this. And then they're in there talking about Charlotte. It's like, girl, can you possibly be any more two-faced? So when I run across these people, I just don't interact with them. It's different with her, because her interactions have actually had some real world consequences. She has really harmed Steve's image, and she lined herself up with Steve's former business partner that shafted him and stole $30,000. So there's that too, that situation. She inserted herself in that situation, and we know how many times she's told us not to insert ourselves in her business. So there's that. So who knows? Ren is doing some good things to rebuild, which is why I'm not trying to criticize him. He's trying to do good things. He's trying to rebuild a community. He's trying to be open to everyone. That doesn't mean I'm going to be there for every single one of the people he's reaching out for, because sometimes there are people that I've seen in there that's like, no, I'm not having anything to do with that. I would like to go on to his live and talk sometime, but he's late at night. And I try to be asleep, even though I don't always manage it because I like to pound my caffeine all day long. And I know that's probably not a good thing. Karma is coming, Angela. And um, I'm thinking that Steve might not be the only one. We might see several more. I know at one point Sherelle was talking about suing her. I don't know if that'll go down. I've heard whispers of others that have talked about suing her. There's that. So I'm just kind of sit back and watch. I'm not going to insert myself in any of this crap, but I'm going to watch and laugh. I feel bad for her in some ways, but mostly I just feel like she's brought this on herself by her own behavior. She's acted so problematic. All this is all just my opinion, allegedly, except that I know Steve served her today. I know that. So I am an opinion channel. I'm trying to say that because looking through the journalistic ethics, you have to identify yourself if you're doing commentary and opinion, which is what I'm trying to do here and trying not to get all messed up in some of the crazier things. So, yeah, Bliss, he served her today. That's why I'm talking about this because I've known about it for some time, but I didn't have the freedom from Steve to talk about it. Do you think Toad will stay with her or take V and leave? This has to be stressful for him. Angela, I think he'll stay. I think Todd is doubling down on all of her BS, whether he believes it or not. Bliss, it's a lot of stuff. But like I was explaining about Steve's magic wanger, that is like the number one thing. The stuff that she said involving his lawsuit against his former partner, there's that. She made that a lot more unnecessarily difficult and lied quite a bit, just like Uni has lied about that. Right now, Steve has an arrest warrant against his former partner, Kyle Curtis, who will not pay him the money he owes him, turn over the channel, anything else. Steve has been chasing him around the U.S. And last I heard, Kyle Curtis was dodging the lawsuit and the arrest warrant by going to Mexico, is the last I heard on that. There is an arrest warrant for him if he comes back. He's anywhere near the United States again, they're going to seize him. I would love to be a fly on the wall when Todd walks in the deposition. Small hand Jewel, same here. I wish there were cameras for deposition, but we know there are not. They never do that. I think that Emily D. Baker will probably cover all of this. I also am looking to see, I believe at some point Clark Swanson will turn around and sue her. Why? Because he and her were in cahoots, and that is why, Tati went after her, was to get that information. I always said it was about the information, not so much the fact that she was defaming her. It's the information. Oh, Christo. She always goes backwards. It's a cycle she's done for years. She'll never learn because she'll never has to take any real accountability for anything. So she thinks she's untouchable. Yeah, she does think she's untouchable. I feel sorry for Todd and her son. Go, Steve. Yeah, Steve. She said a bunch of lies about him. Steve is a good guy. He really is. You don't have to like him, but he's a pretty good guy. I've got to say it. I think the reason her case yesterday got moved is because her and her lawyer weren't expecting LMN to fight it. That could well be, Tia. I don't doubt that one bit. I also think that she's going to try to claim that she's some kind of public figure or celebrity, so therefore it should be sealed, and that may have complicated things. I think Toad is disgusting. I'm so sick of creator spouses cussing and calling women the C word in the background. It's sick and they need to grow up. Well, clearly there are issues there, and that's the reason the two of them are together, I think. I just look at it, I think this made everybody's day. It certainly made mine a lot better. Well, I'm not sure that I think that they possibly were. I think it's a possible theory, but I'm not sure. I am not sure at all. Yeah. KJ is talking about that too, and she's bound by that do not talk about this too. It's not just LMN. I hope that Little Miss Noble wins against her. I hope so, and I hope she turns around and sues Katie for defamation. I think there's a good case there as well. I think so. Now we need Todd C. Yeah, we need Todd C. Yeah. Well, and I think that's why he's going to sue her. I think he's invested a number of dollars into this thing. And as it's gone on and gone haywire, I think that he's going to get his pound of flesh. I just feel like this is going to happen. That she's from the old Facebook groups. Oh, wow. Well, I think also about that, I look at Roadhog. I don't care for his style. He yells too much for me. And because of some of my own problems coming out of Quiverful and abusive churches, I don't handle yelling well. So I don't watch him very often as a result because of his manner. It's not that I dislike him. I dislike his manner. And I've wondered for years, not years, what am I saying? I've wondered for the months that he's been on if perhaps he has some kind of real life connection to her, like maybe a distant relative, maybe she's gone after his wife, who knows? But he seems to be on fire, and it's taking it personal. She can't call herself a journalist or reporter after the Supreme Court handed down a ruling that YouTube creators are not allowed. They're bloggers. I guess some were trying to hide behind reporter. Yes, exactly. They were trying to access documents and information that only journalists can access. So Roadhog has been going after her, and he may legally go after her. I'm looking for more people. I'm looking for this turning almost like a class action lawsuit against her. All the creators that she has defamed. She defamed me, but I've got a thick skin at this point, and no big deal. Why not hand her crap over? Get it over with and walk away. But no. Well, we saw how long that took with the Tati thing before she would hand over anything when she was claiming she wanted to get to the bottom of the hackers. Depositions are often recorded, Diash. And Todd said he will definitely record hers. I watch funny ones all the time. You were right. There are a few of those. A few in the books that crack me up. Watching on delay, such great news. Kentucky Girl, it really is. It's awesome, awesome. As much as she is on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, she must not spend any time with V. Small town Jules, sadly, I'm afraid that's the truth of the matter. And that might be good, because if you have that level of dysfunction, you really don't need to be around children. He's too much for me to watch. I wonder. Very good question. Noelle, he's too much for me too, and it's personal. It's just a personal preference of style. I can't watch creators that yell and carry on. An influencer, Tia, you're really making me laugh this morning. He does need to tone down the language, ambulance girl, because it's just too much for some of us. I heard she put her house in the parents' name. Yes, she did do that. She did that during Pathos, I think, because we had a conversation about that one time. Who knows what's going to happen? Todd can offer to find the hackers, and then she'll hand everything over. Not without a fight. Have to go back to work. Nice to see you, Noelle. Go back to work. And I'll be back on later. We will be talking about this for years. That's what she wants, fame, good or bad. She is sick. Jane, I wouldn't doubt if we don't see a Lifetime movie out of this. I used to say a documentary. Now I'm saying a Lifetime movie. And somebody asked me who I wanted to play me, and I said Kathy Bates, because she's sassy and she has gray hair. She thinks she's invisible unicorn that flies, and uniturd too. They don't seem to get in trouble for nothing, yet they own the internet, it seems. but hopefully start getting lying bullies, fake stuff. Yeah, I think that this is going to be the thing that does her in. All of these cases against her, there's going to be a bunch. There is going to be a bunch. Who would play? I don't know. Who would you think would play KJ? Be prepared for a victim video asking for subscribers for Buddy and wondering what she's done wrong. You can count on that. You can also count on she's going to mention her son's heart problems, and she's going to mention surgeries for the kid and all kinds of things. That's going to be awful. On one of LB's lives, she had a long list of people that had been involved with conflict or accusations by KJ. You were on that list. Yes. Let me read my list. This list is probably incomplete, but I add people whenever I think about it. I'm going to read you my list. Steve McRae, Creepshow Art, Carolyn Ironwill, Sue Elliott, Lorianne Barnhart, which I guess I can scratch off now since she's gone back to supporting KJ, Nat, Michael Saltz, Emily D. Baker, Tina I'll Cut You, Sue M., myself, and I'm not Sue M., BX Beast Boy, Charlotte, Claire, Leslie Bass, Aaliyah Grace, who I never see around anymore, James Westbrook, Tati Westbrook, Allegedly Angels, Mikhail Wells, Katie Joyless, Crystal Bill, Lil Red, Dottie Morgan, Conspiracy, Maya Nova, Sherelle Sloan, Keemstar, Olivia Plath, Tipster, Shane Dawson, Angelica Oles, Augie, Sanders Kennedy, Jeffree Star, Christoph, Justa Hag, Aaron K. Costello, EBGAJ Comic Nut, The Dad Challenge, Sophie Long's Family, Jennifer Falk, Goose, Nana Banana, Mysterious T, Radiant Brit, True Ball of Wax. Okay, this one I think is a repeat. Let me make sure I didn't just... No, Dustin Daly, Deaf Noodles, Nick Schneider, Backwoods Barbie, Tiny Dancer, Joanne Cochran, Lindsay Chrisley, Todd Chrisley, Little Miss Noble, Bailey Wells, Carly, Karma's Popsicle Nightmare, Carmen Abler, Heather, The Pickle is Worth It, Llama Girl, Truth Loose, Real Entertainment Network, I'm Effing Racking, Repzilla, and the one I got to put on here, Roadhog. Those are just the ones that I thought of off the top of my head. And I have been keeping track because I want to see. So all of these people, and it is one very long list, as you can see, have had conflict with her. So I don't expect that to stop. She got me too when she said I stole her son's diagnosis and tried to, gotta add you to that list, Samuels girl. I hope she's not on Chrisley Knows Best. Todd is not showing her over Josh Waite. He's suing her. Yeah, he's not suing her for that. He's suing her for defamation and slander. I would think the court will be picking up that she is abusing the system with all her TROs and ROs. I think they will. I think they will. And I think maybe Chris Hansen will come knocking for an niacin type a niacin type thing. And the list is not always complete. I'm always running across new people all the time. Can you imagine her block list? I'm sure it's huge. I'm sure it's huge. I'm sure she did just tweet. Whenever these things happen, she flips out and denies and denies and denies and says she's done nothing horrible and that it's all a huge mistake. Girl, please. We know better. Oh, bigger than her viewing list. I would not be a bit surprised. And here's the other thing about her that I'm just going to come out and throw out there. She has a huge number of sock puppets. Just be aware of this. Every time I get sick of her BS and I would block her on Facebook, she would come back with a different ID and talk to me again. So there's that. She has so many different accounts. It's ridiculous. I saw that. She's claiming to countersue him. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I would not hold my breath because I don't think that's going to happen. I could be wrong, but maybe. Don't forget the staffers. Oh, yeah. The staffers, whatever. Yeah. And the lady who gave birth that she called the cops on. I can't remember her name, but I remember that community. So there's that. So anyway, I'm going to go. It's been 30 minutes, and I told myself I'd only do this for 5. I'm such a bad manager of time. I've got to go cook. I haven't eaten today, and I'm starting to feel kind of weird as a result. And I went to the grocery store without eating. Never do that. It's dangerous. Okay, you guys, have a good day. I'll see you later.